In the second video, I'm going to talk about front-end setup. So the front-end setup, first you need to, of course, create an Angular project. I'm using the latest beta version of Angular, version 10 point something. So ng-new, whatever name you want to call it. Here I call it client. And you cd into that directory, ng add Angular material library to make your app a lot nicer, look a lot nicer. Skip this step. Skip the socket IO. We are not using these guys. And you can then just npm install, because when you create a new project, you need to install the packages, then ng serve o. If port 4200 is already taken, you can choose a different port. ng serve o _port equals, say, 4321, whatever port you want to serve it on. So this is fairly simple. When you create this ng-new client, you need to answer a bunch of questions. The only thing I want to remind you is that for style sheet, I choose SCSS, not the vanilla CSS. SCSS allows you to do a lot of other powerful things, so I strongly recommend SCSS. Okay, once you set up the backend, the first thing I do is to create a toolbox. So ng generate modules shared. So I create a module called the shared module. The shared module actually does something. You can see it imports a whole bunch of material components, and also import a few tools: forms module, reactive forms module, HTTP client module. This is a boilerplate code. For this little project, you do not need this many components, but I just import them, just in case. This is my boilerplate code, not for this project. So once you create this module, you automatically import it into your app component, app module. So this shared module is imported in your app module. So all these tools are available in your application. That's just basically a toolbox. So the first step. So the next step, what I did is just create a bunch of components. So I create ng generate components / add entry, diaries, diary detail, edit entry, top bar. So I generated all these components. I also created a model called a diary. So it has the date and content, also ID. This ID field, of course, is provided by MongoDB. You never supply these guys. They are the hash value of your entry. So basically a model with the two properties. A class. After that, I did some kind of a top bar. So what does this top bar do? This no more than just this blue bar. You can check out my project. So just this title, the home button, and add an entry button. So you can see here's the code. Feel free to review the code. Here's the component. It get one input from the app component, which is the title. It's called Claire's Diaries. Okay, after the top bar component, I created a service. So here you can see ng generated services .api. So this service is fairly simple. You have a header. This is optional. I think by default it's application JSON. So even if you do not supply the header, it should work. Here is the API endpoint, localhost 3000 API, and I have a error handler. So get all the diaries, which calls that HTTP get service. Get a single diary, add a new diary entry, update existing diary entry, and delete a diary entry. So you can review the code. It's nothing difficult. It's fairly straightforward. HTTP delete, HTTP put, HTTP post. This is the service. You can put the service in your component, but it's good practice to separate the code working with the backend from the code working with the front end. That's why I created the service to be called by my component. Now here you can see this app routing. I have a routing to all the diaries, adding a diary, a single diary detail, and edit an individual diary. So 4 components. The home page, the default is your all the diary page. This page is the home page. It lists all the diaries. Okay, so now let's just jump directly to add entry. Let's see this guy. This guy import a bunch of libraries like form builder, form group. It has a form, has only two fields, diary date, diary content. It's initialized and in the on-init lifecycle. And when this is obviously is the template, let's look at this guy. So the template is very simple, just a reactive form with the two fields, date and contents. And when you click on submit, this function on submit is triggered. This function simply calls that service, API add entry service. And also after the entry is added, it navigates to the new entry, subscribe. This is a callback function. Once you receive the data, you navigate to that piece of data, the detail page. For example, I add a new entry, October 7th. We kicked Ashton's. Okay, October 8th, I think. Let me see the home page. We have how many? October 7th. Let's create October 8th. We don't want to kick Ashton's ass again. We sang a song together. Now you can see it navigates to the new item, new detail. We sang a song together. So that's the redirect your router. Your route. Router navigated to the diary details with a new entry. Okay, for other guys, it's pretty much the same. Like this diaries component, it calls the API service to get all the diaries and then to list all the diaries as buttons, these red buttons. Diary detail, you call because this happens when you click on the button, it shows the detail. What happens is that when I click on the button, the ID is sent over to invoke this API. Where is it? On init, get diary by ID. To get the diary detail and display it here. And there's also two buttons. On the diary detail page, you can edit the detail or you can delete the entry. So there are two extra buttons. The edit entry would call this router navigate to this edit entry page. And delete entry would just delete the entry and then invoke this delete entry API call, and then it will navigate to the home page because the entry you're looking at disappeared. So you can go over all these entries. It's this like diary detail, edit entry, top bar. There's nothing difficult. So the code is actually fairly simple. You feel free to download them from GitHub. And okay, that's my video. Thank you.